Hey, folks, welcome to Affiliate Nerd Out. I am your nerderator, Dustin Howes, spreading that good word about affiliate marketing. You're going to find me here on LinkedIn Live every Tuesday and Thursday at 12:15 Pacific time. So please smash that subscribe button on YouTube or just come hang out on LinkedIn anytime. My nerd guest of the day is Michael McNerney, founder, owner, publisher extraordinaire over at MarTech Record, and he's going to be nerding out about affiliate and content. So glad to have you, Mike. Welcome to the Nerdatorium.
Thanks for having me, Dustin. I'm happy to be here. I've been told I have a radio voice, but you really do. It's impressive. So
it's a work in progress. I'm getting I'm getting there. I appreciate that sentiment, and it's not every day I get somebody that matches my flavor for hair. Of like we've got the same haircut here. I did shave. It's November season. Yeah. And by the terms of our contract today, I have taken down my famous Will Clark signed autograph jersey because Mike is such a big Cubs fan, and it has been replaced by a picture of my son and a Cubs hat. And then Adam Wise also asked that I bring some New York Mets, so I put some baseball cards up there as well.
Well, I was 13 years old when the Giants beat the Cubs and to go to the World Series, and that's a devastating time in your life to lose. So Will Clark was largely responsible for that tragedy. So
that will happen. Yeah. I mean, I felt the same pain in that same year, just a couple of weeks later when the A's beat the Giants in the World Series. Yeah. So I feel it. But yes, Mark Grace is just as big as legend in your country as Will Clark is in mine. So
two great swinging lefties.
Beautiful. All right. Well, we're jumping into live Q&A here. If you want to get in this chats and you want to talk and ask questions to Mike, this is a great opportunity. Anything affiliate, anything content marketing, please do so in here. And now we've got a question of the day. What do you want to ask the audience here, Mike? Something for engagement purposes. What should the question of the day be?
Here's what I want to know of affiliate marketers is what team do they report into?
Oh, great call. You mean as in like the sales or the marketing team, essentially?
Or the product team? I started asking the question of affiliate marketers, and I was shocked by the answers I got. I thought everyone would say, oh, I reported into the marketing team or the performance team, I got people reporting to the BD team, the product team. Product was the most interesting. And so I just started asking that, and I'd be very curious.
I am as well. Like, I feel like from the agency standpoint, it is almost exclusively marketing, but I could be wrong. Maybe that's my experience, but others could be. Please drop it in the chat. What team does the affiliate program report to? Great question, Mike. Thanks for jumping in there, man. Now, before we get into it, Mike, who are you?
Good question. I am Mike McNerney. I'm the publisher of MarTech Record. MarTech Record is an independent trade publication that covers affiliate marketing and commerce content. I tell anyone who will listen, that my background is trade publishing. So I know how to run a trade publishing organization. My background is not affiliate. Like a lot of us, I kind of fell into it. And when I got in here, I found it a fascinating market, one that I thought applied a lot to publishing, something I understood. And I had a lot of need for transparency and information. And so I founded MarTech Record about 4 years ago, and with the goal of being kind of the best independent resource for affiliate marketers. And I think we're getting there.
Absolutely. I'm always impressed by the content you guys are creating, and the folks that you're bringing in to write that content is always, you brought me in every once in a while, and just really appreciate you thinking me in that aptitude that I can write for MarTech Record.
As I said to anyone who listens, I've never run an affiliate marketing company. I got to find the people who know what they're talking about. Like that's the role I've got, is bringing the experts together.
Well, happy to do so anytime. We've got an answer to a question. Kristen, big time Evans, big fan, big two-time guest on the show, marketing and brand. You've gone to brand. Interesting. I guess that makes sense in the e-com space where she lives and breathes. So
that's interesting, right? Is I don't think you would have put affiliate on the brand team 10 years ago, right? And today you can use affiliate to tell a story and enhance your brand, and I think that's recognized. So I think Kristen's answer is interesting in itself.
she's onto something. Absolutely. I mean, one of the biggest potentials in affiliate marketing is on the branding side. Like a lot of the affiliate content is top of the funnel brand recognition that pays off in the long run. So I guess it does make sense in a lot of ways.
Yeah, it's hard to measure, but I think people are starting to
True.
recognize
True. All right. Well, my guest, Michael McNerney, is here, and you can find in the chat a link to his profile. And I'm also going to drop in the link where you can subscribe to MarTech Record as well. And if you would like to be in Mike's seat, come be my guest. Go to dustinhouse.com/nerd. Drop an application and tell me what you want to nerd out about, and we can come and hang out. So, MarTech Record, tell us about the name origin. How did this name come about?
It's a good question. So there's kind of two parts to the name, MarTech and Record. I'll start with MarTech. When I started my affiliate career at a platform called Partnerize, and I was talking to a woman at Ziff Davis, and they were looking for B2B publications to acquire at the time. And I thought this was nuts because I worked at a B2B publication, and it was a really hard way to make money, as digital ecosystem changed. And so I started to dig into why she was asking me this question, and it occurred to me that there was a basic trend line in e-commerce, and that was that things that you bought online were getting more expensive and had a more complicated purchase process throughout time. So if you went back 10 years, you bought books and shoes online. Now you can buy mattresses and healthcare. Complicated, expensive things, right? And to me, it seemed pretty obvious that trend line was going to continue. And so if you were to start a digital media business that monetized things via affiliate, you should just follow that line and see where it goes. And to me, the obvious endpoint of that line was enterprise software, right? So if you can find a way to write about enterprise software, and eventually someone will create good technology that allows you to track those readers, readers will get more sophisticated themselves and start trusting content, which I think they already have. So the first idea was just simply do something in the marketing technology space that creates value. And the second one was I just stole it from the company I used to work for. I stole a lot of good ideas from them. I worked for a company called McGraw-Hill that I'm sure most of your listeners know, that at the time owned a portfolio of trade publications, and I was in charge of their digital media business. This is before we had anything like affiliate to monetize trade publishing or B2B. And a lot of our publications were the something record, and it had this like gravitas. So I needed something with gravitas. We had a publication called Architectural Record, which is still around. It's a great publication. Engineering News Record, and these were kind of like the preeminent publications in these markets. And I knew that it was a great term. We could use it all. The record is just a great term, especially for something that you want to be credible. And so I didn't honestly know that it was going to get into the affiliate space. I was still trying to figure out what marketing technology vertical I wanted to go after. But I knew I wanted to use the term record, and MarTech gave me a little bit of flexibility as I kind of figured out what it was I wanted to do.
Awesome. That is a great story. I'm glad you had some kind of thought process in it. I love the.
It took a while. I think any entrepreneur out there spends too much time thinking about the name of their business, right? It's like after it takes you forever, and then you just start moving and realize you should have made that decision months ago, type of thing.
Well, I feel like the COVID era also bounced off a rebranding era. Like people took the time to rebrand a lot of different brands, and you didn't have to go through that if you strategically put it in place to begin with. Then
well, no, now you can say, why don't you call it the affiliate record or the commerce record or all these things? Maybe that's more appropriate given what we cover. But at the time, you got to pick a lane and stick with it. And
for sure, I mean,
it gives us enough of a wide aperture that we can cover a few different things.
Yeah, everybody's a critic. But define MarTech for everybody out there. What does MarTech mean?
Yeah, it just means marketing technology. And I think that there's a couple of, there's people distinguish between ad tech, which kind of tends to trade back and forth advertising. It's a kind of a media buying technology. And MarTech, which tends to be SaaS based and allow you to kind of manage data a little bit.
Mhm.
At least that was kind of how people thought about it probably 5-10 years ago. The two have kind of merged,
Yeah.
probably mean the same thing today. So I would define it as more a catch-all term for technology that marketers use to buy, measure, and track media in some capacity. In what we're talking about, that's obviously an affiliate, and that could apply to
Mhm.
the networks and the platforms, as well as any of the integrated technology you use to optimize your affiliate programs.
Fantastic. Great answer. Love it. So MarTech Record, what are you guys doing and who are you servicing out there?
Yeah, so our main goal is to make decision making easier for anyone who exists in the affiliate marketing or commerce content space. So we try to look at anywhere there's an important decision to be made, whether that's choosing an affiliate marketing platform, hiring a service provider, be it an agency or someone from the platforms, right? Thinking about which publishers to partner with, what to
Mhm.
commission. All of these are important decisions that if we can make a little bit easier for you, then we're doing our job, right? And we can kind of monetize that in a number of ways. And so the observation when I started the business was here is a business that had dozens of different technology players, thousands of publishers, right? Tons of different types of brands, was growing into other markets kind of as we got into it, and had tons of opaqueness, right? Like the easiest way to learn stuff was go to Affiliate Summit, and it was great, it was wonderful, but that's not the most efficient way to grow a market, right? So our simple job is just how do you create some transparency around these decisions. And so an example is just our buyer's guide for marketing for platforms and networks. You as the agency, Dustin, are going to make a recommendation to your client.
Mhm.
That's a core part of your job. Our buyer's guide should help them make that decision a little faster. You may make a recommendation and say, hey, by the way, you should just read this, and maybe they'll make that decision just a day faster, which makes everyone's job a little easier, gives people more confidence, right? Maybe it's you went to an event that we threw and you met someone and you built trust through them because you met them in person at our events, or maybe you saw them speak at a webinar that we hosted. Maybe you downloaded one of our compensation guides that gives you
Mhm.
ranges on salaries. All these things, made your life a little bit easier, we think. And if we make, a decision a little bit easier, there's value you can capture there. And so that's what we do. We create content that gets in the middle of these decisions and helps you make them a little bit faster.
Yes, and it's absolutely incredible content written by professionals that know what they're doing. And I love the strategy that you have in place, putting the right people in the right articles to that have that expertise and experience. Um, I just love how you guys are creating that content for both sides of the affiliate marketing. It is built some incredible gravity towards you as a company, and I think it started first from the content you started. You didn't have monetization involved or in mind necessarily when you started this out. You came with a content first attitude. Can you tell us about that journey when you did start this 4 years ago? What are the first steps you did, like creating a strategy for this and where it was going?
Yeah, well, I knew that if you could develop a strong, engaged audience, there are a lot of ways to monetize that, especially in the B2B space.
Mhm.
And so to do that, I knew I needed kind of two things first. One was content, of course, and you just had to make it good. And if you make content good, people will find it, right? The second I don't think we really talked about was actually came before that was design first. You have to design really lends credibility
Huh.
to a publisher, and I think that the kind of offerings that were in the market at that point just didn't look professional. They may have been good, they just didn't look professional, right?
Okay.
And, I started my career at a big New York ad agency, and lucky enough, my art director had started her own agency after that. And I went to her and I said, Katie, you got to make some logos that look like we've been here for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And she did just that. She's fantastic. If anyone out there is looking for a great graphic designer, she created kind of gravitas right away, and that really is important when you're publishing. You want people to believe what you're publishing is valuable, and don't overlook the design element. So we created design, and so we kind of had a shell to start with, and then sat down and said what would be valuable for people who are trying to make decisions. And I think the first thing we did was say, hey, how do we evaluate the platforms and the networks out there?
Mm-hmm.
And so we went out and just conducted surveys and got real data and real feedback. And have an advantage of not having any clients at the point was you can publish whatever you want, right? So if you start with clients first, then you get a little biased about what you publish, right?
Okay.
You have someone paying you, right? So you might, publish something that's a little more favorable to them. But if you don't have any clients, you can publish the information you have that's really credible. And then that established, a trend, right? People understood that that's who we were. We were going to publish, the correct information, or information that was from, people who work in the industry, right? I've said it a million times, like I've never run an affiliate marketing campaign. So what we publish comes from you. We're just run surveys. We publish what you say. We get experts involved. And I'm not smart enough about affiliate marketing to alter the content, right? I just believe you and publish it. And then I think what ends up happening then is our clients see that really attracts people, and it's a much higher engagement than if you're kind of catering to, one advertiser or another. And once you kind of establish that independence, it's easier to kind of move forward with that, since you already have it going. So it's kind of design, then content, and then next comes people reading it. And once that's happening, then you monetize, right? You need some patience to do that, right? You need to be able to spend a year of your life probably not generating a ton of income.
Yeah.
Super easy. But I think it pays off in the long run.
Well, you're through that process. You're through the hard part, right? And I love the editorial integrity portion of what you guys have built out there, of the content first, and you're not, taking money where you don't necessarily ranking companies above others. I mean, I think, things like G2 that have softwares out there that they're pitching, you can buy your way to the top of that. And I don't love that. It's not a great user experience. And I will go to a content publication like yourself way before I ever go and listen to experts talk about those 5 stars and like how they got there.
Yeah. I mean, to me, G2 represents exactly what was wrong with, or still is to some degree, the internet, right? Which was, before G2, you had quality print publications that people trusted. You also had bad ones too, by the way, but people understood which ones had higher quality. Digital transformation kind of destroyed some the way you monetize content, and there was a gap between building new, or we're still in the middle of building new content providers that have quality. And in the middle, people like G2 figured out that if you're just really good at scraping the web and SEO, you could attract an audience and throw up rankings and make a bunch of money, right? But it's not a long-term strategy, right? I mean, everyone kind of knows right now those things are bogus. All you got to do is look at one of those graphs they produce and realize no one there has ever worked in that industry, has any clue what they're talking about, right? But they're really good at SEO and they're great at web scraping, which are both automated tools, right? So it's harder to get an audience if you're doing what I'm doing, right? But the audience you get actually listens to you, and eventually that makes a difference.
And word gets around the streets too. Like they come to your publication because they know it's authentic. So let's talk about the content and then the monetization. When is that right time for a company to go and start thinking about making money with the site and the content that they've already created?
I think it really depends on what market you're in. You have to have engagement and trust on some level, right? And it depends what you're trying to do, right? What I've been trying to do is create, a media property. And so you need some degree of scale to do that, right? You can't just have 2 people in your audience. You could take, a B2B audience, and turn that into a referral business. Then you can have less people. So it really kind of depends on how you want to make money and what vertical you exist in. So, for us, it was, between the first real piece of content we put out, it was kind of let's call it an 8-month process before we started driving revenue, and probably another year before you're driving enough revenue to be really making money. But that's hard to say. I don't know. I think if you're in the consumer space, it's a totally different game, which
Sure.
I've never been in the consumer media space. That terrifies me. You got to compete much harder. You got to deal with Google, which I don't really have to deal with. So it totally depends. That's a terrible answer to your question, but.
Well, I don't think so. I mean, it's all general. Some strategists will say, like, uh, let a piece of content bake for a couple of months at least until Google Consult can like pick up the SEO value of it and it starts to rank on Google before you ever put monetization into it. If you monetize it immediately, it might hurt that value of the content of what Google sees in their eyes. So everybody's got a different strategy, but some want to make money quicker. Like,
yeah, I think it really depends. Like you mentioned, like I don't pay attention to Google or SEO. Like,
all right.
a tight community. We're way too narrow for you can start looking at search terms for this about affiliate marketing, and it's a really narrow and not huge audience. So it's not this massive scalable audience. Like we just try to create really good content for a really tight community. And if I spend my whole time thinking about search and Google, I'd rather create good content, right?
Absolutely. I mean, you and Adam Reamer and Leanne Johnstone all have that same mentality. Adam Wise as well as like in that content focus. I'm writing things that people want to read essentially. And
look, if you're covering like washing machines, right? It's a different story, right? There's a formula to it. You write it takes 6 months, right? You do all the right things for SEO, then it becomes evergreen content. You update it every 6 months, right? There's a formula there. And you create great content doing that too. I don't think that formula exists for something as niche as I'm doing. If it does and someone else out there knows it, just give me a call. We'll happy to chat about it.
Oh, fantastic. All right. And let's talk about affiliate and where it fits into your strategy. You guys are jumping into it now, but it wasn't there maybe a year or two ago. How is affiliate working for you right now?
Yeah, so it's not right. We're not doing anything in affiliate in terms of monetizing our own content presently. However, it's a very important part of our strategy. As I kind of said a little bit earlier, when I started this, I drew that line saying, today is healthcare and mattresses. Those are both complicated, expensive purchases. Mm-hmm. What's 5 years from now? And to me, it was enterprise level software, which I think affiliate platforms and agencies and all that kind of qualify at. And so I think we're kind of halfway to that point where the consumers and the readers trust the content, and that the advertisers, in this case being platforms, networks, other types of technology, service providers, would like to set up an affiliate program, right? But I don't think it's quite there, right? Yeah, but I think we're like really close to a point. I'd love to have it so that I can track, who read what review, and we get a commission from Rakuten or Impact or CJ or whomever based on that. But we're not quite there yet.
Okay,
we're getting close. And once we are, I could really use someone's help. So
absolutely, happy to help you. I love what you're doing, and I'd love to be a part of it. So happy to come in. All right, let's take a quick break for our sponsor of the day. This is something near and dear to my heart, and it is Performance Marketing Manager. But more importantly, it is Movember season, and this face is fresh because I'm going to be growing a stash on it over November. Movember has been a part of my life for the last 13 years as well, and it's all about men's health and getting to that doctor. Go to dustinhouse.com/Mo if you would like to donate to my campaign. And I am personally putting in a portion of my profits this year to my Movember campaign as well. Have you ever been a Mobro there, Mike?
I haven't, but now I'm inspired. I could have. I was gonna do Mike Didka for Halloween, but I didn't get around to it. So that would have been a perfect, a perfect start.
That would have been a great start. Yes. You have the Bears.
I got all. Yeah, I got the whole thing. It's
fantastic. Awesome. Well, thanks for joining me in there. Now pivoting into like affiliate, you guys aren't doing an affiliate strategy necessarily, but for some reason, the affiliate world has gravitated towards your community like something I've never seen before. And MarTech Records Slack group is up to like 4,000 people now in there, and everybody in there is generously giving their opinions to questions like, hey, does anybody have a contact over here? What do you think about this kind of product? Is this merchant is somebody to work with? Everybody is sharing at an incredible click, and it is a great community to be a part of. How did this happen? Why are so many publishers and merchants alike coming into MarTech Record, and this is our hub?
Well, I mean, I wish I had a great answer. I think honestly, the easiest and most truthful answer is it's a reflection of people who work in affiliate marketing.
Okay.
That's something I learned when I joined, say, 8 years ago now. It's just with or without technology, it's people who are just very willing to connect, to share, to help people out, and it's a great group of people, and I love working in this community, partially because of that. So I think that's the key. There's some kind of other trends, right, that I think kind of help make this market a place where kind of a Slack community thrives. One is, and most importantly, I think that it's a kind of community that when it's growing, and it is, all boats kind of rise, right? And everyone kind of sees that. And so there's an incentive to help. The second is it's a market where there's a lot of opaqueness, right? It's not easy to find, or it wasn't until we started, right? The right technology, the right service, the right pricing. When I started at Partnerize, first thing I said was, who are the competitors in this market? And it took me like 2 months to figure it out. And, it was like I had to fly around the country and ask a bunch of questions, which was great. I learned how great people are, and I learned how hard it was to find information, right? And so I think the opaqueness of the market, kind of the fact that it's growing, and everyone sees that by sharing information, they can grow. And the need for new information, those things just kind of help make a community grow. How it grew on Slack is a little. I wish I had a great answer. I wish I had a really strategic, thoughtful answer about how I built this type of thing. But I think it's a reflection of the community more than me, right? I invited people in the beginning when I needed people to fill out surveys because I needed something to give them, frankly, and I didn't have much. And then I invited people who registered for some of our webinars early because, again, I didn't have a lot to offer as I was getting started. And then I got lucky that the right people started to contribute. And I've been proven wrong so many times, looking at that community and thinking I know what I'm talking about, right? I look in there and I see someone post something and I'm like, why are they asking that? And then tons of conversation starts, right? And then I'll post something and crickets. So I've been proven over and over again that it's not my content that's doing it. It's other people. But it is super interesting. I mean, and I will say too, before I started, I really didn't like Slack. It was just another thing.
Really?
Things were I felt old because it was another thing that was alerting me on my phone, and I didn't want more. First time I really felt old from a technology perspective. I felt like my parents being like, "What is this extra thing?" And the next thing you know, I've got it's 3,500 people or so in a Slack community.
Yeah,
that seem very engaged, and it seems to be something people like. So
it is pretty incredible. The only way you can get into that Slack channel is to subscribe to MarTech Record, and then you can get an invite. This is an invite only Slack channel.
You need to get invited by somebody in the channel and be subscribed to MarTech Record. So Subscribe. It's in the link somewhere. Dustin posted that.
Yeah, it's in the chat there. Go give it a.
Dustin can invite you to Slack channel. Then.
I can, if I approve. We'll see. Like, just
any of your listeners are qualified, Justin. So.
Absolutely. All right. So you don't know the answer, but I do. It is the cool club right now. Like, everybody's coming to this because we've all been looking for it in our career, and everybody keeps on engaging. And I am checking it on the daily and engaging with other people and answering their questions. And that's the person I want to be. And the people that are gravitating towards it are in that same kind of mindset. So it is a hot place to be. The Slack channel is where all the cool kids are right now.
I am curious too, from your community and people who, I'm sure there are people listening who are active members in there, is I get worried if it gets too big, right? And what's the point where you fractionalize it, right? And how do you do that, right? And since I've been so hands off, my instinct is to just remain hands off about it. But it's closed in on 4,000 people, which is a lot.
Yeah.
And there's a point where you want to get into some subgroups, right? And this is, again, goes back to my career at McGraw-Hill. We've covered architecture, design, construction, and we would create at the time these very tight groups of architects who built schools, and contractors who did roofing or whatever. And so I'm always wondering, like, when's the point where you kind of fractionalize this stuff? And so that's my second question for people.
Well, I think you're doing a great job of that already. Naturally, like, there's a publication spot, there is an agency spot, there is a network and event spot, and you can post in these freely, and you're making sure everybody's following the rules on we really appreciate when you are policing the folks out there that are trying to be overly promotional, I would say. And it's a fine line sometimes to not be overly promotional.
Everyone's using it for this. Everyone wants to use it to get business, right? So they totally understand. We're just trying to have to be a friendly way of doing it. You kind of know when you know, right? That's my only way of describing it.
Yeah. I don't think you should change anything. Honestly, I can't believe more people don't post questions on the daily on there and just really get into it. I want it to stay the same where it is. Like, the engagement today is great, and if it raises up to 5,000, like, so be it. I just hope more people do engage.
Great.
So let's take a step back and talk about lessons for those young entrepreneurs out there that are. You had to take a leap at some point and say, hey, I'm going to create this awesome publication. I'm going to do it the right way. I'm going to be taking a break on paychecks for X amount of months or years or whatever to make this happen. What are some of those lessons you want to give to the folks out there that might be thinking about taking the same leap?
Yeah, I'll tell you what the advice I got was from my dad, who had worked in some entrepreneurial roles. And I had never thought of myself as a risk taker or an entrepreneur, and it was not something that I even considered until I was kind of in my early 40s. And advice he had given me years before kind of crept up, if you will. And that was, if you see a problem, fix it. And if you fix it, you'll probably have a business, right? And so, I just hadn't seen any, problems. I'm sure I had, but I kind of ignored them to that point. And I got into the affiliate marketing space, and this problem of lack of information became pretty glaring to me, right? And then I realized that I was in a unique position to know how to fix it, right? I'm probably one of the few people who's ever run, a trade publications digital media business, and worked in affiliate marketing, right? And so, that was a unique skill set, right? I didn't realize it until suddenly it hit me in the face that the industry needed a trade pub, and I happen to know how to do that, right? And so that advice that I'd heard years earlier, which is if you see a problem, fix it, I added to it, which is if you see a problem that you know how to fix, go fix it. And so that's how I started, and that's advice that I'd pass on to anyone, is if you're sitting there and you see a problem, stop complaining, go fix it, and then you'll have a business. The second one is scary. It's not having a salary. I was not a risk taker. I'd never been out of a job
Yeah.
ever, and suddenly there I was, without a job, trying to start something that frankly most people I knew well did not understand and thought was totally nuts. But you got to have conviction, right? You got to know in your heart that this is the right thing. I just knew this was the right thing. So, I think that's important because it takes all of the effort you have in the world, and if you don't have that energy in you, you kind of won't make it. The third thing is really simple, but you forget sometimes because you wake up plenty of days kind of wondering what the hell you're thinking. It's just do one thing, right? Like
All right.
one thing at a time. And Dustin, you run your own business, and so I'm sure you can relate to this. Like sometimes when you have a hard time getting started, it's just do that one thing, right? And whatever that one thing is will lead to another thing, and pretty soon that gets the ball rolling. So it can be a simple thing, but just do one thing and do it right away in the morning, and you end up accomplishing a lot.
That is a great tip. It is something that's taken me a long time to figure out. I get this anxiety. I call it a case of the Mondays, like
we've all been there, right? Where it's like for someone it's hard to like do one thing. Like it's hard to respond to an email sometimes, and it's amazing what doing one thing can do. And then on top of that, do one thing at a time.
Okay.
Because it gets really easy to get overwhelmed with the 100 things you got to do, but you're not going to be able to do more than one at a time. So just do one thing and then do a second thing.
So true. All right. What's the affiliate future hold? What do you have in mind here? Where do you think this industry is going?
Yeah, I mean, I think the general prediction that I had 3-4 years ago is still proving out and still correct, right? Which is the affiliate tactic, as I'll call it in this case, is something that almost any content provider who's trying to monetize content can and will use, and in some capacity. And that was 5 years ago. That was seen as future looking. I think we're in that space now. So I think we're kind of still on that slope of like affiliate tracks e-commerce growth and will be kind of leveraged by any content providers out there. What I think the second phase of that's starting to happen now is, if that's true, then the corollary of that is pretty much any marketer, whether they're on an affiliate marketing team, a PR team, an influencer team, a brand team, a BD team that's setting up deals, should have affiliate in their tool belt, right? It's a tactic that helps amplify a lot of the things you're doing, and I think that's starting to be recognized. I think that's the kind of new thing that's going to be talked about in 2024, which is something we all kind of know deep down, right? Like if you're using affiliate to write reviews and those reviews are filling up the internet, then that's a branding tool. That impacts your branding.
Sure.
There's no question that people are reading dozens of reviews and then making decisions. And a lot of those budgets are coming from affiliate, and that is impacting how people perceive your brand. And so that has a lot of implications in terms of marketing teams and how you structure your team. Kristen made a point that she's on the brand team. That probably wasn't the case 5 years ago. The person I was referencing is on their product team, right? These are all reflections of organizations that are trying to figure out how to pepper, affiliate throughout the organization. On the flip side, you have the publishers, right? And how does that impact their business, right? Well, how do they sell affiliate? Do they put together a totally separate team? Do they start selling hybrid deals, which are already happening a lot of times by accident? We had a webinar about this a couple of weeks ago. And so I think the proliferation is what you're going to see. I think that where the risk comes in, right, is that, what has traditionally been, a siloed market kind of sitting in its own space can now kind of be pilfered by other channels, right? And so, you're going to start to see brand teams taking this budget. I mean, they're good at that, and same with something like that. And so, if I'm an affiliate marketer right now, there's both great opportunity to start working across channel teaching people how to kind of use this. But there's great risk that other people are going to take the budget and run with this. So I would get really good at, what they call cross-functional behavior, right?
All right.
Getting to know your whole team, because sooner or later someone's going to figure out, how to kind of amplify brand or how to measure it. It's already happening, right?
Yeah.
And there's already people doing this, but I think it's going to kind of be bigger and bigger. And so that's the general where I think it's going. I think the one other thing I would say here is I'm really surprised we haven't seen more conversation from affiliate marketers about retail media and Amazon, right? Because at the end of the day, they're both paying commissions to distribute a product to a customer, right? There's some differences in how you work with those platforms, but if I'm affiliate marketer, like why aren't affiliate teams and agencies, partnering or working on those budgets as well? So I think we'll start to see a little bit of that collide. I mean, those are huge markets. So
yeah. Well, I mean, it is a $15 billion market. That number can't be by mistake. I think one of the most used cliches I hear from potential clients is like affiliate marketing doesn't work for us and our company, and maybe you didn't do it right the first time is always my combatant, because I've never figured out a solution that doesn't work for some kind of company, and putting the motivation to publishers with the commission structure that is a fit, it will work if you turn the right screw. So,
well, I think too, it's important. This is how I think about affiliate as someone who came into the market from different marketing channels. Was affiliate is just distribution, right? Okay. You are just buying distribution, right? You are finding partners who are you are going to pay commissions to sell your product. And if you go back a generation, right, a marketer owned, building the product, promoting the product, finding distribution partners, right? And that kind of got chopped up by all these different digital channels, right? Digital destroyed marketing, right? Because it made just search teams who just did search, and social teams who just did social, right? And then there was branding over here. Like, that's not the way marketing's supposed to work, right? You're supposed to sit there and say, how do we get this product to market, right? And we're thinking about that holistically, right? And in many ways, affiliate kind of covers all of it, right? Because it's distribution. It's saying, okay, which of these partners out there am I going to work with to get into market? That should include Amazon. It should include, Walmart. It should also include all these great websites out there. So I think one way of thinking about it is as distribution, which raises the conversation up the level in the organization.
That is such a good point. And that brings me into my lesson of the day. It's just what you said here is affiliate is part of all of these channels. And in the strategy, the true strategy here is to be a part of brand, to be a part of marketing, to be a part of sales. It is encompassing all of it, and you're underutilizing it if you're just siphoning it into one bucket, essentially. And that's my big lesson and takeaway from our conversation here. Mike, you have to defend your post very quickly here. Since Honey acquisition, I've been wondering, is this just a maturation of Coupon Channel, now fully digital, or has it matured to the point to being able to rival other digital acquisition channels? Do you still feel the same way? This is a 4-year-old comment, Mike, but do you still feel like Coupon Channel has its realm in this place? What say you?
Wow. Okay. Well, first of all, I'm obviously quoting Mike Giacone, who's a much smarter guy than I am, and so whatever he said was obviously correct. Well, I think what I'd love to go back and read that article is, I mean, first of all, yeah, Coupon's definitely part of this space, right? And it's a vital part of this space. I think people forget that coupons before affiliate were massively important to people's marketing strategy. And are today. I think what's happening a little bit is that, affiliate has now gotten to be something that you apply to everything, right? And what people kind of refer to as affiliate is kind of the old coupon cashback loyalty market, which existed before the internet, right? That was, you bought, coupons in papers. My first job was selling coupons in the Northwestern University Yellow Page directory, which was not an easy job because people don't exactly use the Yellow Pages in their university phone book, which I learned after I took the job when I was 18 or so. But I think what I was saying there was did someone come in and say, "Oh my God, this is the digitization of the entire coupon market, and we're going to capture that"? And I think the answer was yes. And then there was some extra valuation added on top of that.
Yeah.
Because, you say, oh, if we plop, PayPal on top of this, right, we can also kind of create all this value at checkout, right? And I don't think that's quite played out. I don't know if that was an execution or a strategy issue. I think we're probably still seeing that play out.
When that acquisition happened, I was terrified. Like PayPal was going to be like the new coupon loyalty like distribution of it all, and I was scared to say the least. But not much has come of it, and
Yeah,
I'm okay with that.
I think just talking to people, I think a lot of people have told me at least that it was more of an execution issue. They got into it, realized it was difficult, and got distracted by other stuff. And
collecting people's money.
Yeah, I think in this market, we think of $4 billion as a lot of money. That would force you to really, execute an acquisition. And in PayPal's world, it wasn't as big as we thought. So,
awesome.
That's something. That's a great. I love. That was one of the first posts I think I put up after I started MarTech Records. So.
Awesome. All right.
He said it. It's right. That's all I know.
Yeah. Great episode, says Kristen. Thank you for joining us, Kristen. Appreciate you. All right. As we wrap this up, my next week's guests are Sarah Bundy and Marshall Nyman, and stop by on Tuesday and Thursday for that. If you would like my personal affiliate program checklist, use this QR code up here. Go to dustinhouse.com/checklist. And I'm here signing off. Thanks for joining me, Mike, and everyone else out there. Keep on recruiting.
Awesome. Dustin, thanks for so much for having me. It was a lot of fun.
You got it, man. Take care.